It's about understanding who you are, what drives you, and what you need to improve. Think about it. Without this level of awareness, it's easy to drift aimlessly through life, reacting to situations instead of responding with intention. When you embrace silence, you're essentially creating the space needed for clarity. It's in those quiet moments that the most profound realizations often come to light. In practical terms, this could mean setting aside just 10 or 15 minutes a day to sit in silence. No distractions, no technology, just you and your thoughts. In these moments, you might find that your mind starts to unravel problems you've been struggling with, or you gain a new perspective on a situation that's been troubling you. This practice of silence, as seen in Stoic philosophy, isn't just about being quiet. It's about intentionally using that quiet to connect with yourself and grow. Without these moments of introspection, it's easy to lose touch with your true self. Silence, when used for self-reflection, is one of the most powerful tools for personal growth, allowing you to become more intentional and thoughtful in your daily actions, ultimately paving the way for greater success. Silence is not just about reflecting on your thoughts, but also about sharpening your focus. In a world full of distractions, it can be incredibly difficult to stay concentrated on the tasks at hand. Every day, we face interruptions, emails, phone calls, notifications, and countless other things demanding our attention. These distractions erode our ability to stay focused, and as a result, our productivity and effectiveness decline. When you choose silence, you're creating an environment where focus can thrive. By removing the external noise, you allow your mind to zero in on what truly matters. Silence doesn't just mean not talking. It's about choosing not to engage in anything that diverts your attention away from your goals. Imagine for a moment that everything around you goes completely silent. No distractions, no noise, just pure clarity. What could you achieve in that silence? What if I told you that this simple, powerful tool, silence, could be the secret to unlocking your greatest success? Stick around, because today we're diving into why embracing silence could transform your life in ways you never thought possible. Silence has always been a powerful tool, but in the fast-paced world we live in today, we often forget how crucial it is. The first reason why silence is essential for success is because it allows for self-reflection. We're constantly bombarded with distractions, whether it's through work, social media, or the pressures of daily life. And in the midst of all this noise, we rarely take a step back to check in with ourselves. This is where silence comes in. It provides a rare opportunity to pause and look inward. When we're silent, we're not just avoiding speaking. We're creating the mental space to reflect on our thoughts, actions, and emotions. Imagine being in the middle of a stressful situation where you don't know how to react. The natural impulse is to either panic or speak without thinking, but if you can practice silence in those moments, you give yourself the time to think, assess, and make a more rational decision. Self-reflection doesn't just happen randomly, it's something you must actively create. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius exemplified this practice. He made it a point to reflect on his day every single evening. He would ask himself, "What did I do well today? Where did I fall short? What could I have done differently?" In his private journal, he explored his thoughts, actions, and how they aligned with his values. This process of regular self-reflection kept him grounded, even while he was dealing with the immense pressures of being an emperor. Taking time for self-reflection, think of it like clearing away the clutter from your mind, allowing you to see clearly and act decisively. Take a moment to think about how often you find yourself working on something, but your mind keeps wandering. Maybe you're trying to write an important email, but your phone keeps vibrating, drawing you into social media or text messages. Or perhaps you're working on a project, but the noise from your environment makes it hard to think. When you allow yourself silence, whether it's through finding a quiet place to work or simply unplugging from distractions, you're creating the mental space to focus fully on what you're doing. In that space, you're able to execute more effectively, without the scattered thoughts pulling you in different directions. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher, knew the importance of focus in achieving success. As emperor, he faced constant demands on his time, yet he made sure to protect time for solitude and reflection. He understood that in order to lead effectively, he had to be able to think clearly and make decisions without being clouded by the distractions around him. Silence was one of his tools for maintaining mental clarity. Think about the impact of this in your own life. In today's world, we're rarely alone with our thoughts. We constantly fill our time with noise, whether it's social media, work-related chatter, or simply the busyness of everyday life. But if you were to take even just 30 minutes of silence each day, free from distractions, how would your ability to focus improve? How much more productive could you be if you were able to concentrate fully on a single task without being pulled in 1,000 different directions? The power of silence for focus lies in its ability to strip away distractions and sharpen your attention. It's a tool that allows you to direct all of your energy and attention toward the task at hand, leading to higher quality work, better decision-making, and ultimately, greater success. It's in those moments of silence that you can choose how you want to react, whether with patience, understanding, or calm assertiveness. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, valued silence because he understood its power in maintaining inner peace. Despite being the emperor of Rome, with the weight of an empire on his shoulders, he sought moments of solitude to reflect and calm his mind. He believed that silence was a form of mental clarity, helping him detach from the chaos of the world and focus on what truly mattered. By embracing silence, you can also better navigate difficult emotions. For instance, when faced with frustration or anger, taking a moment of silence allows you to observe your feelings without acting on them. Instead of reacting impulsively, you create a space to gain perspective and choose a more thoughtful response. In moments of silence, you're able to separate yourself from the noise and find clarity within. It's in this space that you can focus on your thoughts, process your emotions, and return to a place of calm. As you practice silence in your daily life, you'll notice that you feel less agitated and more grounded. This inner peace, cultivated through silence, will help you navigate the ups and downs of life with grace and resilience, ultimately contributing to your long-term success and well-being. Silence fosters deep self-awareness. One of the most valuable aspects of silence is its ability to help you become more self-aware. In a world full of distractions, it's easy to lose touch with ourselves. We often live on autopilot, responding to external stimuli without truly understanding why we react the way we do. Silence, however, allows us the opportunity to slow down and reflect on our thoughts, actions, and emotions. When we embrace silence, we can take a step back and observe ourselves. So, whether it's setting aside a quiet time for deep work or simply learning to embrace moments of stillness during your day, silence is an invaluable ally in the pursuit of success. Silence gives you the space to cultivate inner peace. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to get caught up in the noise, both external and internal. the constant chatter of daily life, whether it's the news, social media, or the demands of work and personal relationships, creates a whirlwind of thoughts that keep us on edge. It's hard to think clearly when we're constantly reacting to the noise around us, and it's nearly impossible to find peace of mind. However, silence provides a remedy. By embracing silence, you create a space where you can slow down, clear your mind, and connect with your true self. This is the essence of inner peace, the ability to quiet the mind and focus on the present moment, rather than being swept away by the endless thoughts and worries that flood our consciousness. Imagine waking up in the morning and spending just 5 minutes in silence before you check your phone or get caught up in the rush of the day. In those 5 minutes, you could practice deep breathing, reflect on what you're grateful for, or simply sit in stillness. By taking that time to tune out the external noise, you give your mind a chance to reset and approach the day with a calm, clear mindset. Silence also helps you develop emotional resilience. Life is filled with challenges, but it's how we respond to them that defines our success. When we're overwhelmed, our emotions can take over, and we may react impulsively or out of frustration. Silence gives you the space to process your feelings without rushing to react. It allows you to pause and respond with thoughtfulness rather than emotion. This space between stimulus and response is where true emotional strength lies. Instead of being caught up in the whirlwind of our daily lives, we have the chance to reflect on our choices, behaviors, and feelings. This reflection is key to understanding who we are and what we truly want from life. It's not just about understanding our immediate desires or impulses, but about diving deeper into our values, motivations, and long-term goals. Think about how often you've acted on impulse, perhaps in frustration, excitement, or stress. Without pause, these impulses can drive decisions that aren't aligned with our true desires or values. Silence allows us to break this cycle. When we take a moment to sit in stillness, we create the space to observe these impulses without immediately reacting to them. Instead of acting out of frustration, for example, we can pause, recognize that frustration, and consider whether it's really the best course of action. Consider a scenario where you're facing a difficult decision, whether it's about your career, relationships, or personal growth. In the noise of your everyday life, it's easy to get overwhelmed and make impulsive choices. But when you take time in silence, you can dig deeper into your thoughts. What do you truly want out of this situation? What are your core values telling you? What's driving your decision? And is it rooted in what truly serves your best interests? This deep introspection is only possible through the silence and stillness we create in our lives. Moreover, silence helps you separate your true self from external influences. Many times, our thoughts are colored by the opinions and expectations of others, whether it's family, friends, or society. But in the quiet moments, we can strip away those external voices and get in touch with our authentic self. Silence gives us the space to listen to our inner voice, to understand our own thoughts without the interference of others. For instance, imagine you're facing pressure from friends or colleagues to follow a particular path, but something inside you feels off about it. When you take a moment of silence, you give yourself the space to listen to that inner voice that knows what's best for you. It's in these moments of silence that you can reconnect with your values and avoid getting swept away by the expectations or influences of others. Self-awareness gained through silence also helps us understand our emotional triggers. By observing our emotional reactions in quiet moments, we gain insight into what truly affects us. We can begin to identify patterns in our behavior, what makes us angry, anxious, or sad. And once we recognize these triggers, we can start to respond differently. Instead of reacting automatically, we can choose how to respond, guided by our newfound understanding of ourselves. Silence gives you the chance to explore your own thoughts without judgment. It's an opportunity to gain clarity and reset your mental state. This practice of reflection, when done consistently, will help you understand yourself on a deeper level, allowing you to make more intentional choices that align with your true desires and goals. It's through these moments of stillness that we become more attuned to who we are, and ultimately, this self-awareness is the foundation of true personal growth. Silence strengthens your ability to listen and understand others. One of the most powerful aspects of embracing silence is its ability to enhance your listening skills. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to become a talker instead of a listener. We often find ourselves waiting for our turn to speak or thinking about how we can respond, rather than truly hearing what others are saying. But silence trains us to be present, to listen deeply, and to understand others on a profound level. When you're silent, you're not just holding back words, you're creating the space to absorb information fully. This means being aware of the words being spoken, the tone behind them, and even the body language or facial expressions that accompany them. True listening involves taking in all the signals, both verbal and nonverbal, that someone is sending your way. Silence allows you to do this without distractions or preemptive judgments. Take, for instance, a conversation with a friend or colleague. Often, we may be so focused on our own thoughts or opinions that we miss important details in what the other person is saying. But when you commit to silence, you remove that urge to immediately respond or fix the situation. Instead, you listen with intent, absorbing the full scope of what's being shared. This practice leads to a deeper understanding of the other person's perspective, needs, and emotions. Think about a time when someone shared something personal with you, and you were distracted or thinking of what to say next. Perhaps you missed out on important details or failed to fully empathize with their situation. By practicing silence, you can avoid these pitfalls. In those moments, when you allow the other person to speak freely without interruption, you show them respect. You're not just hearing their words, but you're truly understanding them. This allows you to offer a more thoughtful, compassionate response. For example, imagine someone comes to you for advice or support. If you immediately jump in with solutions or suggestions without fully listening, you risk missing the point. You may be addressing their surface-level concerns, but silence gives you the opportunity to listen for the deeper issues. What's behind the words they're saying? Maybe they're not just asking for advice, but for validation or understanding. By staying silent and attentive, you create a safe space for them to express their true feelings, which allows you to respond in a way that truly helps. The ability to listen deeply is also crucial in professional settings. Think about leadership or negotiations, for instance. A leader who listens more than they speak gains valuable insights from their team, understands their needs, and builds trust. Silence allows a leader to step back, observe, and gather information before making decisions. In negotiations, the best negotiators know that speaking less and listening more often gives them an edge. They listen for what's not being said, the emotions behind the words, and the hidden desires or fears of the other party. A great leader, or even a good friend, knows how to listen without rushing to give advice. They don't fill the silence with unnecessary words. Instead, they stay present, absorbing what is being shared, and offer their thoughts only when they have fully understood the situation. Silence isn't just about being quiet. It's about being actively engaged in the moment, paying attention to both spoken and unspoken communication. Moreover, silence allows us to understand the dynamics of power in conversations. Often, we can become so focused on expressing ourselves that we forget to consider how our words might affect others. Silence, however, allows us to step back and evaluate the impact of what we say and how it might be received. It teaches us the value of choosing our words carefully and understanding the power of pauses. In relationships, whether personal or professional, the ability to listen without interruption or judgment strengthens bonds. People feel seen, heard, and valued when they are listened to attentively. Silence allows you to create that space of respect and understanding, making your interactions more meaningful and your connections stronger. By embracing silence, you're not only improving your communication skills, but you're also practicing empathy. You're showing others that their thoughts and feelings are important to you. This creates trust, deepens relationships, and fosters an environment where people, for example, if you're dealing with a major life change, such as switching careers or going through a personal relationship challenge, silence can provide you with the mental space to process your feelings and come up with a plan. Often, we make decisions in the heat of the moment, driven by emotions or external pressures, but silence allows us to step back and think with greater clarity. You might spend some time in quiet reflection, allowing your thoughts to settle and gain perspective. Through this process, you can tap into your intuition and see things more objectively, which ultimately leads to better decision-making. Silence also helps us to evaluate our past experiences. By reflecting on our actions, we can learn from our mistakes, celebrate our successes, and identify patterns that may influence our future choices. In the rush of daily life, it's easy to overlook these lessons. We get caught up in the cycle of doing without taking the time to pause and think. Yet, when we allow ourselves to be silent, we can process our past more thoughtfully, which helps us make better choices moving forward. For instance, you may look back on a failed project or a mistake and realize what went wrong. Without silence, you may have missed the opportunity to learn from it. Consider an example where you might have reacted impulsively to a stressful situation. In the moment, you may have acted out of frustration, and only later did you realize that your reaction wasn't helpful. The silence afterward offers the space for you to reflect on the situation without the emotions clouding your judgment. By revisiting the situation in your mind during a period of silence, you can recognize the triggers that led to your reaction and learn how to handle similar situations more gracefully in the future. Another important aspect of reflection through silence is that it helps you align with your values and goals. Many people live their lives according to external expectations or societal norms, often losing touch with what truly matters to them. Silence allows you to tune into your inner self and reconnect with your deepest values. Through moments of quiet, you can ask yourself questions like, what do I want to achieve in life? What are my core values? Am I living in a way that reflects those values? For instance, if you've been pursuing a career that doesn't bring you joy, silence can give you the space to reflect on why you chose this path in the first place and whether it still serves you. You may realize that your career goals were influenced by the opinions of others rather than your own desires. In silence, you can reconnect with your authentic self and begin to make decisions that are true to who you really are. Similarly, in relationships, silence can offer clarity on how to communicate more effectively and what you need from those around you. You may spend time reflecting on a recent argument or disagreement and discover where things went wrong. Perhaps you realize that you weren't fully present during the conversation, or maybe you recognize that your own unmet needs contributed to the conflict. Silence helps you process these thoughts without the interference of emotions or distractions, allowing you to approach the situation with greater insight and understanding. Silence, therefore, is not just about avoiding noise. It's about creating a space where deeper understanding and insight can emerge. Whether you're reflecting on your past, gaining clarity for the future, or aligning yourself with your core values, silence gives you the time and mental space to do so effectively. In the fast-paced world we live in, silence provides the perfect antidote to the constant noise, enabling you to reconnect with your inner wisdom and make more intentional, thoughtful decisions that lead to greater success and fulfillment.